I'm Luke.
I'm Mary. Welcome to Meet the Missionaries.
We met the missionaries at Taste of Mission through an ad we saw in our church bulletin.
We like to support the missionaries because they are personable and nice. We love coming to meet the missionaries because we like to hear their incredible stories like digging wells for dry areas and building schools.
Please stick around to hear more about our priests.
Hello dear friends, I am Austine Radol, a Comboni missionary priest, Kenyan, and currently working in Kenya in the administration, and I live in Nairobi. Prior to my current work, I went to Eritrea after a period of formation and studies. After my ordination, I was ready for the mission, and I left Kenya on 28th of October 2004. But my first shock on arrival was that at the airport, my passport was stamped 18th October 1997. I was confused, only to be told later that in Eritrea as well as in Ethiopia, they use the old Julian calendar, not the Gregorian we are used to in the West. So that was my first shock. On arrival, I was very much ready after my formation and studies to start working as a missionary, only to realize that it was not going to be so fast. I had to be patient because there I had to learn not only a new language, but a language written in different characters, not the Latin alphabet we are used to. And then even the liturgy, the way they pray, the Mass is celebrated, is totally different from what I was used to. So I had to stay almost 1 full year without being active in any ministry, but just studying and learning. In Eritrea, what I also found is that I went there as a missionary, ready to teach, ready to show them who Jesus is. But I realized that these people have been Christians for centuries. And that is even demonstrated in their everyday life, starting from the names. All the names have something to do with faith. Tesfa Mariam, the hope of Mary; Tesfa Georgis, the hope of George; Haile Mariam, the strength of Mary, and so on and so on. And so it was impressive to see that God is in everyday life, in everyday expression. For the mission, and I went and I was somehow in charge of a small Christian community, a small parish called Tokombia. And there is also one thing that struck me, that whenever the youths were coming, maybe because of they wanted to marry or they wanted some document, whenever I went through the register, I had difficulty to trace their information in the baptismal register, only to be explained later on by a certain Orthodox priest when I asked why are the names really not easy to find, because they use short names. If one is called Tesfa Mariam, then you will be called always Tesfa, and so on. Why is this? Then the Orthodox priest told me the reason, the belief in the mentality of the people is that when baptism is being done, there is God and there is the devil. And the devil listens to your name and starts following you throughout the life, seeing all that which you have done. The day of the judgment, there will be the same scenario. There will be God and there will be the devil. And you will be called Tesfa Mariam, since you are baptized as for Mariam, and then the devil kept on hearing that you are called Tesfa, so at that particular moment when you are called, the devil is still confused, and in that confusion you have already entered heaven. So it's a way of tricking the devil. This is what I was told. But anyway, I cherished so much my experience in Eritrea, not to teach them something new, but now my work as a missionary was to help them to live this Christian faith in an active way, especially in our interhuman relationship, in matters of peace and justice, helping one another and so on, to actualize and make active the Christian life. Otherwise, the principles of faith, they already have. Thank you.
My dear friends, I greet you all with much joy from Manila, where I am based as a Comboni missionary. Of course, you realize already that I'm not a Filipino. I am a Portuguese by birth. I was born in Portugal in 1972, 48 years ago. And after my journey of formation in different places, I was ordained in 1998, after which my desire was to work in Africa. And yet my superiors asked me to work on vocation promotion and mission animation of the local church in Portugal, at the example of Saint Daniel Comboni. Full of enthusiasm as a young priest, I accepted it wholeheartedly. I worked for 5 years among the young people, but the desire for mission was always there. And so, after those 5 years, I asked to be sent in mission, hoping that this time, yes, the African dream would become true. Such was not the orientation of the superiors, as they assigned me to Asia, a new world that I really did not know at all. So with open heart, I landed in the Philippines in 2003 to start this journey of work here. Coming among the Filipino people, the first thing I realized is you are among a land of smiles. People are warm and welcoming. I had fears, I had doubts, I had hesitations, and yet this closeness of the people, in their simplicity, in their humility, opened ways immediately to start a new journey in relationship with the people with whom I mingled every day. One of the things that I appreciate the most in the missionary work here is to be with. That is a very powerful lesson that I learned in Loco. I have thought always of mission of doing great things. Well, that has not been my case. I actually have done very small and simple things, but one important aspect of this missionary work is to share life with the people. I was so blessed when I was given the opportunity, almost at the beginning of this journey, to live in an area called Mariveles, in the northern province, about 200 kilometers away from Manila. And there I mingled with the local fishermen. What a beautiful experience. People who live day to day, hoping that their catch is enough to fill their bellies and their families. Sometimes does not happen. So hunger is a reality. And yet, there are smiles. And yet, there is hope. And that really touched my heart. Yearly, I was asked to offer the blessing of the seas and of their boats. For me, it was something new, but it made sense. For indeed, the sea is the source of life for these people, and the boats is all they need to survive. And so I recall those beautiful celebrations by the seashore, blessing the boats, blessing the seas, blessing the people. If there is a lesson I'm very grateful to the Lord for these 18 years of service among the Filipino people, is that indeed we do not need to do miracles to communicate the great love of God for His people. It is by sharing life with eating what they eat, mingling with them. Take time to listen to their stories, that we can indeed make a common journey. My dear friends, I greet you all from Manila. I'm still here until God wants me to be here. Then I shall move on. For the time being, thank you for watching, and I wish you all the Lord's blessings.
My name is Jerome Soku, Comboni Missionary priest from the Democratic Republic of Congo, born in Kisangani. I did all my training for religious life and priesthood in the DRC, and I worked for the first 11 years of my missionary life in South Africa, my first love. What impressed me most in South Africa is that life is profound in its simplicity, and people of the town of Bushbuck Ridge are welcoming and grateful. Catholics constitute only 7% of the population. There is only one theological and philosophical seminary for the whole country. And Catholics from Bushbuck Ridge express their faith through singing, thanksgiving. And we know that apartheid had a strong negative impact on the family life and education. But the members of the South African Church remain hopeful and grateful in their faith. Profoundness is hidden in their simplicity. The biggest misconception I had while going to South Africa is that I was not sure if the missionary work was going to be fruitful. Before going to South Africa, I always thought that the missionary work will be unfruitful because of traditional beliefs, which seemed to suffocate the Catholic faith. But I was deeply amazed by the experiences of conversion of many traditional believers to the Catholic faith. The traditional healers were called Sangoma or Ngaka, became Catholic and believed in Jesus as the only healer. Bishop Joe Sandri, a Comboni missionary, used to say, "Only God changes human heart, not our wisdom." The best thing about mission life is that we do not see things as they are. We see things as we are. God's mission is a process, is a school that transforms us to see like He sees. In other words, to love others as He has loved us. God uses even crackpots. Carrying this treasure in jars of clay, it is not us leading, but God's power surprisingly working in us.